Innovative content. Global audience.
Hello, good morning to you viewers. A very warm welcome to you from our SRTV studio here in London. Yes, it's another beautiful Friday. Thank God it's Friday like we used to say. And we have a lot of trending issues this morning coming from our national dailies, talking about national dailies from Nigerians. We have a lot of trending issues. Labor is still dragging through to the government. We have CBN, former CBN issues, and a whole lot of issues today. Yes, this is Wake Up Nigeria. I will bring you, of course, topical trending news. Good morning. This morning, I have with me on the review segment this morning. I have a guest for you this morning. Is no other than Obe Akpomita Akpomedain. Good morning, sir. How are you doing today?
I'm fine. Good morning. And how's everyone doing?
Yes, we are fine from here. How's Nigeria today? Now, quickly, we're going to start with the reviews of the paper, and I'm going to begin with the Daily Sun. Now, these are some of the headlines coming from the Daily Sun this morning. And the main headline here says panic in CBN as probe expands. And the writer says investigators beam searchlight on top staff's firm. Chronics. Anxiety as anchor borrowers loan recovery deadline elapses. Emefiele resigned in August. Sources. Now, these are all these stories on page 13 of the Daily Sun newspaper. We also have a story here that says shake up in NNPCL as 3 EVPs retire, and that story is on page 13 of the Daily Sun newspaper. President approves replacement. Airstrikes destroy over 30 illegal oil refinery sites in Rivers. Now, that story is on page 13 as well. And we'll have a story here as well that says Atiku accuses Tinubu of planning to unleash regime of propaganda. That story is on page 6 of the Daily Trust newspaper. As well, we'll have a story here that says demolition. Abuja traders writes AGF over police disobedience of court orders. That story is on page 5 of the Daily Sun newspaper. As well, we have a story here that says actor Jimmy Odukoya succeed dad as church overseer, and that story is on page 12 of the Daily Sun newspaper. As well, we have a story here that says CGN inaugurates 9 appeal court justices September 20th, and that story is on page 84 of the Daily Sun newspaper. As well, we'll have a story here that says 5 died, 12 injured in Lagos Ibadan highway accident. That story is on page 5 of the Daily Sun newspaper. There's a story here that says RMAFC defend salaries of political office holders, put Tinubu's pay at least less than 1.5 million monthly. Ministers below 1 million naira. Now that story is on page 6 of the Daily Sun newspaper. These are all the stories we have coming from the Daily Sun this morning. Mr. Okay, I want you to comment on this. I want you to comment on this story here that says panic in CBN as probe expand. Investigators beam searchlight on top staff's firm's chronic. Now, what's your take on this? We've been seeing this Emefiele's case here and there. Emefiele is now a pastor carrying Bible, but we're seeing that it's no longer about Emefiele alone. Top officials as well in CBN and now be probe as well. What do you think? Are you optimistic that any good is going to come out of that whole saga?
Well, I'm not optimistic because this is Nigeria. This is Nigeria, where you will have a lot of probes, a lot of investigation that will go on. But at the end, whatever reports the investigating panel will bring, their recommendation and all that are not being followed. So if top officials in CBN are being probed, is a welcome development. But what happens after the probe? What will be the next action? Would those indicted go in for it, or will they go free? And in recent times, you discover that most of them, they go free. They go free, funds are not recovered, and we keep repeating this same thing over and over again. So I'm not optimistic about it, but it's a welcome development. So about I
Oh, that was a very good one from Mr. Ove. Yes, these are the questions we are asking. It's not about the probe. We see police doing their job, it's one probe or the other, but what happens after the probe? Now, these are the questions they are asking. We know that people will always they will say, okay, we arrested you, and they probe, and before you know, the issues just die a natural death. You will just see somebody that is no longer there. You will not be hearing about them. The news will just be silent about the person. These are the issues. Anyway, we have other trendy stories here. I have a story here as well that actually caught my attention this morning. uh there's a story here that says RMAFC defends salaries of political office holders. Now, puts Tinubu pay at less than 1.5 million, and ministers below 1 million. Yes, even though in this particular news, I would have loved to have maybe a rhyme figure. Let's know the figure you're paying. If you're paying 800 to the ministers, we should be aware. If you're paying let's say 1.5, 2 million to the president, we should know, so that when we're saying, we will know this is what we're talking about. And when you're paying your ministers not less than 1 million, or maybe not up to 1 million, that means we're looking at 800, 700, 900, and the president maybe 1.5, 2 million. And then what is your minimum wage? These are the heads, these are the leaders. You pay yourself so much, and then the minimum wage is like a slavery to me, if you ask me. This civil servant, they keep toiling, they keep working, they go to work on daily basis. Now, what are your ministers doing? They come and they sit, they give orders, and they use all the exquisite cars in town and exotic cars, live in mansions, separating themselves from those same people they are supposed to be ruling over. Now, these are the issues. Anyway, I guess he's having a little bit of network issues. I would have wanted to even discuss on that issue. But I would really love the ROMAFC to give us a specific amount. Don't tell us it's below, it's around. Let's know what we're doing. And also, I saw a story here that says CGN inaugurate 9 appeal courts justices. Now, it's not about inaugurating. They should give us the justice we deserve. Yes, this fear of favor, this paddy, this friendship they do. No, bringing you as a judge means that you have so much to do. And don't forget that since before the election and after the elections, we'll be having court issues. Are they willing to be truthful? These are the questions we're asking. And then I really saw a story here. Jimmy, actor Jimmy Odokuya succeed that as church overseer. Why are people complaining? I saw the news. Everybody is complaining. They are talking about him. He has dreadlocks. He used to play lover boys in movie. I've refused to comment on that issue, but since it's on the national daily, I think we should talk about it. A lot of people now feel like he's not worthy. Yes, I call them assistant Jesus, because you cannot just see somebody and judge that because they have dread or because they've been doing movies. It's a movie, it's not real. So I think before the church the elders of the church had the confidence to like put him on that chair to succeed the father as the church overseer. He's worthy. He's worth it. And I don't think we should be in position of judging him like Nigerians are good at. You judge people. You don't even know Jimmy. You only saw him on movies. He's a lover boy, and then you think that's all about Jimmy. He's a good one from the Fountain of Fire or Fountain of Life. I think that's the name of the church. Congratulations to him. And federal government, please, 5 died, 12 injured in Lagos Ibadan highway. It is not a good one. That is one road that I dread of traveling on. I don't think I can. And if I know any person, I'll tell you don't follow that road. Now, there is no week you sit on the news without hearing something very negative coming from that Lagos Ibadan expressway. What's going on? I think it's high time if you have to put maybe is it how do you call it? Is it checkpoints, speed bump on a highway? Fine. Then you put a lot of check. It's better people go to where get to where you're going to late than coming on daily basis on a road. There is no week you don't hear somebody had accident, people died. The federal government needs to sit up and do something about Lagos Ibadan expressway. It's actually taking too much lives. Anyway, thank God we have our guest back, but we'll move on quickly to the next newspaper, and that would be the Nigerian Tribune. These are some of the headlines we have coming from Nigerian Tribune this morning. The main headline here says August inflation rate. Companies may resort to downsizing, LCCI wants. And the writer says wants government to resume tax on food items, urging CBN to pause inflation rates high. Now, this is the major headline, and that story is on page 6 of the Nigerian Tribune. And then we'll have a story here as well that says no university can survive without fees increment. Now, this is coming from the Committee of VCs, and that story is on page 30 of the Nigerian Tribune. We also have a story here that says Tinubu nominates Ibrahim Olawande as youth ministers, and that story is on page 30 of the Nigerian Tribune. As well, we have a story here that says CGN to swear in 9 appeal courts justices Wednesday. These stories are on page 21st of the Nigerian Tribune newspaper. As well, we have a story here that says Osun government imposes curfew in 2 warning wearing communities. That story is on page 29 of the Nigerian Tribune newspaper. As well, we'll have a story here that says 2 injured as building collapse in Lagos. And that story is on page 29 of the Nigerian Tribune newspaper. As well, we'll have a story here that says more knocks for Obasanjo over humiliation of traditional rulers. That story is on page 8 of the Nigerian Tribune newspaper. The YCE Ogun group demand apology. They are urging the president to apologize. And we saw a story here as well that says 115 houses destroyed in Plateau flood. Sad. And that story is on page 27. You can see the picture there of the whole issue there. And then we'll have a story here that says NCAA commences probe into Adeleke's adopted flight incident. That story, it's on page 10 of the Nigerian Tribune newspaper. As well, we'll have a story here that says Ondo commissioner beaten, injured over subsidy palliatives. And that story is on page 30 of the Nigerian Tribune newspaper. These are all the stories we have coming from the Nigerian Tribune newspaper this morning. Now, there's a lot of stories that actually caught my attention from these story here. But we'll go on a quick break now. When we return, we'll continue with this review. Before I will give my thoughts on some of these stories, stay with us. We'll be right back after this break.
SRO TV Talent Award is here again. We honor, recognize, and appreciate hard work of individuals in the creative industry, films, music, fashion, and comedy. Nomination of various categories is now open at superiorradioandtelevision.com/SRO TV-talent-award-registration or contact us via the numbers on your screen now. Powered by SRO TV London in partnership with the Federal Ministry of Information and Culture and lots more. Nominate, and nominates.
Hello viewers, and welcome back from that quick break. Yes, I'll move on quickly to the Vanguard newspaper. Yes, these are some of the stories we have coming from Vanguard this morning. We have here, the main headline says, why you can't go on strike. Federal government tells NLC TUC. Wow, why you can't go on strike. And the writer here says strike will be violation of sustaining court order. NEC appeals to Labour to suspend planned strike. Urge patience. Ask urging Labour to continue negotiation at state level. We have no agreement with federal government to suspend strike. NLC says no scheduled meeting with federal government. The pen directs tanker drivers, petrol station attendants, others to comply with the October 3rd strike. CSOs, rights activists said to enhance sit-at-home order. Said to enforce sit-at-home order. Describe petrol subsidy removal as serving policy of economy slavery. Now, this is the major headline coming from the Vanguard today, and that story is on page 5. And we have another story here that says, Mohbad, I had no hand in singer's death. Now, this is coming from Naira Marley this morning, and that story is on page 6 of the Vanguard newspaper as well. We'll have a story here that says, independent lecture. Your sacrifices would be in vain, Shetima tells Nigeria. And that story is on page 20 of the Vanguard newspaper. That's quite funny. And then we have a story here that says, inflation, manufacturers on sold goods up to 45.4% to 272 billion naira in first quarter. And that story is on page 19 of the Vanguard newspaper. Now, we'll have a story here as well that says, Tribunal, Northern youth warn against interference in Kano politics. And that story is on page 9 of the Vanguard newspaper. We also have a story here that says, federal government declares Monday, October 2nd on public holiday. Now, that story is on page 9 of the Vanguard newspaper. And we have a story here that says, the error to err is human, to forgive is divine, says Obaseki, as he accepts Shaibu's apology. If I had, should I clap for that one? Because we have been saying, please accept his apology. This part also between governor. Now, what's your take on that, Mr. Obe? You see governor, you see deputy fighting. These are people that came in with the same mandate, with the same vision. And then at the long run, you see them fighting, power tussle here and there. And we know that just last week, on Monday, the man was actually locked out of his office. And today, the man also, Shaibu Phillips, the deputy governor of Edo State, actually apologized. He came on the press to say he was sorry for whatever he had done. And now the governor is saying, yes, he's a godly man. He's not saying to his whatever, to forgive him. So we are happy. Now, what's your take on that? I think Ondo, if you ask me, Ondo State should actually take a cue from this, because we know also that the deputy and the governor, they are still having a little parts also here and there.
Politics is quite interesting, and when you see events like this unfolding, it gives us a great concern. But to me, I don't see that as an achievement, or what would I put it? But him accepting it, well, fine. But considering the political tension it has created already in that state, I think it will make no sense, because it has actually affected the deputy's own political ambition. You know, in politics, everybody, your ambitions, you always work towards your ambition, and we are never satisfied when it comes to politics. We are never satisfied. So to me, I think Chaibu would have, been more careful in dealing with his boss, because in as much as that state is concerned, Obaseki still remains the boss. So he should have been very careful with him from the onset. But things went the way it went because of poor management. But I believe they can still work things out, and probably Obaseki can.
Because the governor is saying this morning that to err is human, to forgive is divine, says Obaseki as he accepts Tribal's apology.
Yes. So I believe he had somebody in mind that he might want to, hand over to. So, but politics is a very big game and a very interesting game.
These
So,
are
but
the
let's just.
these are the issues where somebody will have to, I don't know, this party government politics. Now it's the same thing I was seeing in Ondo State. How do you think? Let's link this to Ondo State, where the governor went on medical leave, and before he returned, a lot has happened, and we're seeing that effect. That, in fact, he has been. They have. There's an impeachment move already, which even yesterday on the news, some indigenes actually came out to say, "Leave our son alone. He's the deputy governor. He needs to be there." Now, there's still a lot of things also happening from Ondo State. But we saw that Edo State, as heated as the whole thing was, they are now saying to X human. So we are hoping as well that maybe on those states you actually take a clue from this. Now, what's your take?
On those states and Edo State, I think it looks similar, but I think that of on those states is the deputy went too far in the issue. So, but I think
Going
if
to
they would take the clue from Obaseki, the governor can as well forgive him and move on with him. But politics is something that you can't really
Okay, and we hope that the government of Ondo State will actually take a clue from this. I'm happy. I'm happy that Edo State is now at peace, because you know that saying that when two elephant fights, the grass suffer. They have been doing this political also, thereby neglecting the activities of the states and the people. But maybe, just maybe, they are coming back together. We bring some sort of peace and, of course, progress to the people. And then I saw a story here as well that says, be patient. That is what I don't get. Yes, the vice president is telling us to be patient. Our sacrifices will not be in vain. Ha. At this point, I think Nigerians have gotten to elastic limits. That is one word I think Nigerians don't want to hear. You telling Nigerians to be patient, that they should just their sacrifices. Who knows what will happen next? Labor is still here. Federal government cannot come to a conclusion with labor. Federal government cannot resolve the issue with labor. And now you're seeing that even the pen is enforcing a law that fuel stations and a lot of you know, activities will be grinded come onto back thought. And you think that we cannot, at this point, we should keep having patience. I don't think that that's the thing we want to hear right now. And then also we have a story here that says that northern youths warn against interference in Kano politics. I don't know what's happening in Kano, but if that case is not well handled, we're going to see some kind of outcome that will not be pleasing to everybody. So I think whatever needs to be done should be done. And once again, your federal government declares a second public holiday. Kudos to civil servant. And then I saw a story here that says Mobad. We'll go on a quick break. When we return, I will discuss that issue of Mobad Naira Mali. Uh, don't go anywhere. Stay with us. We'll be right back after this break.
With the SRTV Leadership Award, we recognize and honor consistent excellence and exemplary leadership in our society. Nomination is ongoing. Contact us at info@superiorradioandtelevision.com or via +234 814 358 2856 or +447 459 513 619. Forward by SRO TV in partnership with the Federal Ministry of Information and Culture, elevating good leadership in our world.
Yes, you're welcome back from that quick break. There's a story here that says Mobad, I had no hand in singer's death. This is coming from Naira Mali. Well, probe is already ongoing. Investigations are on the way. So very soon we'll find out how true this is. And then we also have a story here. Now the main headline is actually my problem here, where you are now seeing that Nupeng directs tankers, tanker drivers, petrol station attendants, others to comply with the strike order. I don't know what's going to happen, but I'm appealing to Nigerians. Please try and get yourself some stuff at home, just in case the federal government fails to resolve this issue. You cannot be at peace at home as well. And then INEC laments as 241,715 biased Kogi Imo voters shun PVCs on page 9. Yes, that is what you get when people feel like their voices are not being heard and the economy is not what it. Somebody that's not eating well, will the person go and be queuing for PVC or queuing to vote? After all, they feel that maybe their vote will not count. That is why Nigerians tend to neglect after what happened the last time. And then Burkina Faso detained 4 officers after a failed coup. Yes, coup issues here and there. That is one issue I don't want to go into. Now we have our guest back, and good to have you back, Mr. Owe. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. I can hear you.
All right. Now, just before we go to the next, I want you to give us your opinion on this, why we can't go on strike. Federal government tells LLC and TSC, and Nupeng and other bodies are already. There's so much noise from your end.
Well, the issue of strike, I believe, to me, it won't yield any good thing. Is only going to, hamper more on what we're already suffering from as a result of this subsidy removal and all that. But I think Labour should actually come to compromise with the government, and let's actually see if what the government of the day means they are ready to follow it. Because to me, subsidy is not going to come back again, no matter how it is. So let's just face it, at least for some time. At least let's give him 6 months at most. If by the end of the 6th month.
Okay, so now, there's a story here that says your sacrifices will be in vain, Nigerians. We should be patient. So you stand in line with the vice president. That is what we need.
Yes, from the very outset, although let me be sincere, I didn't support Tinubu right from the beginning. I did not support him. But from May 29, when he made that speech of removing subsidy, I thought to myself, I said, well, actually, we can get something good from this subsidy removal if only the government is sincere to themselves and to the people. Because when you remove this subsidy, yes, we are going to suffer it for just a little time. So when I went through the whole thing, I said, yes, it's good. But my point of concern is this: after these 6 months or 7 months, will they be able to give account as, okay, yes, this subsidy removal, this money that we acquired from subsidy removal, this is what we have used it for, and are they going to be accountable? That is the major concern of at least majority of Nigerians. So you are removing it. What are you doing with the money? Then what are you going to do to make sure that the people, most especially the ones at the grassroots, do not suffer more harm in this situation? Because the politicians, they will always, have their pay at the end of the month. Then what happens to those that don't have pay? Those that are not employed gainfully, either by the government or by the private sectors. So what happens to them? So if you are telling us, okay, bear for a little while, how long? To me, 6 months is the maximum that we can bear with this government. After the 6 months, we are not seeing anything good, then I think actions should be taken. That is when I can actually support the trade union, NLC, and which other of the union, that okay, fine, 6 months, the government are able to do something tangible and meaningful for us, so let's take proper action and in the right direction. But now, when you are crying for action now, it's just too early to cry for action of strike. To me, it's just too early. So let's wait. At least we still have few months till we get to that 6 months. So if at the end of that 6 months nothing meaningful, then we take action. So, but for now, coming for, I don't think is really necessary.
All right, patient. Because it's just around the corner.
Yes.
These are some of the stories we have coming from the Punch. And the main headline yesterday is strike. Labour protests as federal government threatens union leaders with government charge. And the writer says, threats won't deter us. We are no cowards. CVP. Governors ask NSC to put strike. AGF says strike concept of course. Now all these stories are on page 2 of the Punch newspaper. And I also have a story here that says academic record. Atiku asked to overrule Tinubu's objection, and that story is on page 30 of the Punch newspaper. We also have a story here coming from Punch that says telecoms plan different tariffs for calls data in states, and that story is on page 21 of the Punch newspaper. As well, we have a story here that says CBN will spend $3 billion loan to stabilize economy. Now, this is coming from NEP, and that story is on page 27 of the Punch newspaper. We also have a story here that says Zuma in lock at workers. Protesters cite hardship for lateness. And that story is on page 27 of the Punch newspaper. We also have a story here that says Ogun APC PDP confidence tribunal rules Saturday. That story is on page 8 of the Punch newspaper. As well, we have a story here that says Oshun accidents, 5 LUTEC students, driver burnt to death. That's a sad one. And that story is on page 4 and 5 of the Punch newspaper. As well, we have a story here that says federal government targets wealthy Nigeria in tax drive. That story is on page 27 of the Punch newspaper. These are all the stories we have coming from the Punch newspaper this morning. Now, Mr. Hare, we've talked about labor before. There's a story here, if you can see the picture very well, that says Uma in lock at workers. Protesters cite hardship for lateness. These are civil servants which the governor actually locked out for coming late. And now protesters, these workers are saying hardship is the reason for the going to work late. Now, what's your take on this?
Uh, this is Nigeria where anything can happen anytime. Anybody can just wake up one morning because he's in power or is in position and do whatever thing he feels like. Well, if the workers are coming late, I think the same way the government is begging and pleading with all Nigerians to be patient with them as a result of the current economic situation, I think every government, every governor in each of the states also should be patient and also be lenient with their workers, because the workers are also being faced with the hardship irrespective of what they get at the end of the month as their salary or pay. It is not enough to cater for themselves and their families. If you have somebody that is receiving 50,000 naira monthly as his salary, and the distance from his place of work to his own place of residence will consume more than half of the salary in the month, what do you want the person to do? So the person also they are all trying to make sure that, okay, one, I don't lose my job, I get work on time, best I can, and also get my pay and manage in and outside of the day knows the that we are in. I think not the workers for late coming is is not part of it. It's not part of it. It's totally
Well, next, your sound is not very good. I don't know if you have another device on there or is the place where you are, but the sound is not very good. And now, moving forward, there's a major headline here that says CBN will spend $3 billion loan to stabilize economy. Now, what's your take on this? First, the federal government say no money to fund subsidy, and then we've borrowed so much. And I was saying that CBN is saying, I bet this is coming from the new CBN governor, that they will spend 3 billion naira, $3 billion loan to stabilize economy. How optimistic are you that we borrow $3 billion, the economy will be stabilized?
must we borrow at all?
These are the questions.
Must we borrow? Yes, must we borrow? With all the money we have been getting, must we borrow? Or will it be okay? Is it at this time now that it's okay, you still want to borrow more to put us more into the hardship that we're already trying to, look for a way to come out of? I think borrowing more money to help stabilize the economy is out of it. They should look for other ways to stabilize the country, not borrowing more again. The ones you are owing, you have not been able to pay them. You want to add to it. So how do we do it? How do you solve it? So I think borrowing more money to stabilize it won't work. It's going to create more problem. Maybe you can just borrow to, okay, let's stabilize it for now. But what happens? What happens? How do you keep the economy rolling after maybe the projected 3 billion loan to stabilize the economy will last maybe for 3 months? Then what happens after the third month? So I think borrowing now is not the solution. They should think of other solutions. The money we are getting for subsidy at the end of the month at least is enough. So let's work with these figures. Let's work with this money that we are getting at the end of the month from subsidy removal. I think it's going to help us a lot. But borrowing money is a no for me for now. No more borrowing. Let's stop the borrowing issue. Let's see how we can actually get out of this without borrowing a dime from anybody and from anywhere. That's just my take.
That is a good one. We have done in we should not be looking at borrowing at all, because at this stage of the economy, still can't borrow. Is a no for me as well. Now let's take the last newspaper, Mr. Where this is the Guardian, and the major headline here says, "Tales of World Missed Opportunities, Unmet Expectations, 63 years on." Now this is the Guardian is telling the story of independence. If you see the picture, you see Nigeria, and there you see how, I don't know who did this picture, but you can see that Nigeria, the flag itself, the map of Nigeria itself is a little bit cracked here and there, which actually trying to pass the message, looking at the picture. Can we get the picture of the Guardian newspaper? If we can, please, let's get the picture of the Vanguard newspaper. Yes, the Vanguard newspaper, you can see the story there. You can see a lot of our heroes of the past there. Sorry, the Guardian newspaper, You can see the story of our past heroes, and you can see the map of Nigeria, which is they're trying. It's destroyed, and it's something they are trying to amend. And the main headline here is so captivating that says, Independence Anniversary, Tales of Woe, Missed Opportunities, Unmet Expectations, 63 years on. And don't forget that the other day on the news as well, sir, the government did say we're going to celebrate independence this year on a low key. No celebration, no colorful celebration, and of course, no, we are not inviting any international bodies. We just want to be sober and reflect on the past 63 years, because I feel like there is nothing to celebrate. We have not really gone that far. I'll ask your opinion, but let's take some of the headlines here. And there's another headline here that says nationwide strike, federal government dangles carrot stick to weaken labor's resolve, on page 6 of the Guardian newspaper. As well, we have a story here that says why Nigerians must stop acting like sport brats. This is coming from Adegoroyi, and that story is on page 3 of the Guardian newspaper. As well, we have a story here that says Bayelsa Guba on easy calm as court hears Marcus in ineligibility case today, and that story is on page 29 of the Guardian newspaper. We also have a story here that says Troop kill 191 terrorists, arrest 184 hoodlums, oil thieves, and this story is on page 30 of the Guardian newspaper. As well, we have a story here that says Tax Reform Committee collected 5 billion naira from FIRS, says NAMI, and that story is on page 18 of the Guardian newspaper. Telecoms operators threaten discriminatory tariffs to curb state excesses, and that story is on page 15 of the Guardian newspaper. Now, these are all the stories we have coming from the Guardian, Mr. Ove. But I need you to quickly throw your weight on these are the main headline that says Independence Anniversary, Tales of Woes, Missed Opportunities, Unmet Expectations. And don't forget, like I said some days ago, the government did say we are not having any celebration. Do you think is a way to go?
Well, 63 years. 63 years. What have we to celebrate? Well, Christians will say, let's thank God that we still have life. That's the first thing. But aside appreciating God for the gift of life, as a nation, what are we thanking God for? Is it for the killings? Is it for the accidents that we still have on our bad roads? Is it for the sufferings that Nigerians go through on daily basis? What are we celebrating? 63 years old man or woman with nothing to show as an achievement or as an inheritance for his family. What are we celebrating? What are we celebrating? So I think what the government need to do, because we have actually failed, successive governments in this nation has failed that is continuity of plan. We don't have continuity of plan. If you look at great nations all over the world where our people will always want to go, where even our politicians went for their education and all that, how did they get to this point they are now? There are plans they followed. 10 years plan, 20 years plan, 50 years plan, 100 years plan that each successive government followed, irrespective of the political party that is in charge of the government at any time. But in Nigeria, you don't have that at all. You don't have it. Well, I must chip in this one. This is the first time in my state which is your state also, that a governor is acting on that continuity for the very first time in the history of Delta State. And that is why I said my support for Sheriff is 100%.
But talking about Sheriff or your state is
yes.
What we know that when you say continuity, what are we talking about? Is it infrastructure, or what exactly are you talking? What do you mean? Road construction, or what exactly are you talking about?
Continuity in one, following previous administration contracts or projects, not abandoning them, because that has been one of the major issues we faced all over the country. When any government comes, it abandons the previous government projects and pick up new ones.
What are some of these contracts, sir?
Yes, if you are followed up with what we've celebrated when we celebrated these 100 days in office, there were projects that the previous administration, which is Senator Dr. Arthur Ifayokowa, was doing, that Sheriff himself, right?
If I could recall, we had one of the SSS to Sheriff on media.
Yes, that's
on the show here. Yes, I had him on the show, who actually outlined and listed all the achievements so far within the past 100 days. And most of them were just road construction. So are you saying that as a state as big as Delta, we should not be thinking outside the construction, infrastructure, road construction, street light, because Okowa did road, Okowa was a road master. Sheriff also should not become a road master. These are some of the issues. I think we're waiting for his own mandate, if you ask me. Anyway, we'll have network issues with him, and that would be a good place to wrap up the show. We do hope that I really love the image of the Guardian newspaper today, their front cover. I think that that image depicts what we're going through as a people. Nigeria is broken. Nigeria is not well, is not feeling well. Nigeria is sick, as you can see. They are trying to patch it and to join it back together. I hope that will work for us someday. And thank you so much for being part of the show. Thanks also to our guest, Mr. Ovea Metata, for joining me on the reviews this morning. We'll do this again on Monday, and thank God it's Friday. While you are out there, drive carefully, obey traffic law, and please don't drink and drive. Also, remember to follow us on all our social media handles, talking about Facebook, Instagram, X, and YouTube. Subscribe, hit on the notification bell, invite somebody to the page, and also leave us with your comments. We'd love to hear from you. Know that peace is priceless, so let's always give peace a chance. I'll see you again on the show, the Wake Up Nigerian show, on Monday. I remain yours truly, Princess Kessy, and thanks to people behind the crew. We appreciate you. Bye for now.
Hooray! The next President Show is here again. Are you aged between 18 and 30, smart, bold, and possess exceptional leadership skills? Do you have what it takes to be the next youth governor and future youth president? Then register free now at superiorradioandtelevision.com or call the number on the screen. The Next President reality TV show, moving politics out of the polite drawing room into the clamor of the streets.